and the brightness in the hair is competing. So with the figure layer selected, I'm going to come down to the cookie icon, and I'm going to add a levels adjust, and I'm going to open up the brightness in the eyes here. And I don't want to flatten it out. Wrong choice there. I do want to bump up the contrast, but really just in the eyes. Right? So that's how I want it to look. I'm going to click away, and then I'm going to click on the mask itself and invert it, Command I. So now it's not doing anything because the mask is black. In other words, it is not allowing any real change to show. And then B for brush and white brush. My brush, I'm going to take it down to about 50% and make sure that it has softness on it, so hardness 0. And I'm really just going to bring some of this nice brightness into the eyes. So if you see, if you take a look up, it's very subtle, but it is changing it. See the difference? And again, on the monitor, it's not looking as great as it is on my screen, but that's just how it is sometimes. So I'm going to increase the size of the brush. If I want to, I can bring a little bit lightness just more onto this side, and maybe a little under this eye. Okay.
What's your hardness?
0. 0. And so now here it is with and without. Without, with. It's subtle, but to me it makes a big difference. The subtlety, I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but it is definitely better.
What's the brush size?
The current brush size I have is 125, opacity 52. And I'm going to save it again. And I will pause. Just add another step. So this step is, I don't know if you're working with the same image, but if you are, I am taking the brush again with my opacity 52, and I'm clicking on the layer mask side of the sky image because there's a highlight that's coming into play here that's disturbing me, and I'm brushing it out right there. I don't like it. And a little bit here. I'm going to decrease the size of the brush and kind of just poke in there a little bit. It's odd to me. And then I'm going to click on the artwork side again on link. Click on the artwork or the photo side, move tool, and I'm going to slide this down again. There's some kind of oddball weirdness there. And then I'm going to re-link it. And if I click on the mask side again, and you see I'm painting with brush, B for brush, it's obliterating some of that unclear, why is that there highlight. And next I want to deal with either making the sky feel more reasonable match to the image or the highlights in her hair, or making the highlights in her hair be a little bit more congruous to the background. So again, I'm going to save. And I'm going to add a new layer because this layer is going to not be not really, the new layer I'm adding is not really going to be affected by this mask at all. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm going to add a new layer. So here it comes. This is one possible approach to making the hair seem more congruous with the background. It would likely be picking up some of this orange light, so I'm adding a new layer. Now the problem is that the white color of the hair is not going to take color because it's white. So if I tried to do a colorize or something like that, it would just look weird. So what I can try to do is I'm going to press I to sample a color from the sky here, and I'm going to get this peach color. So now I'm going to take the brush tool, and I'm painting with just normal old paint on it. Okay, so here's what's happening. It's going to look weird for a second. You have to bear with me. Okay, so I'm going to take this color and I'm going to paint it on the hair. This is the part where I said it's going to look weird, and it does. Okay? Okay, that does not look right. However, you know, it sort of helps like these weird highlights, but overall, it just, you're like, what the heck, right? Doesn't really look quite right. Here's the deal. Selecting it, and I'm going to choose a different blending mode. If I choose overlay, it puts that color that I painted into the darker portions of the hair. If I choose luminosity, it's only in the darker ranges. If I choose, get back up here, color dodge versus color burn, that starts to actually do some of what I wanted, though it is very strange, okay? So I now have it on the color burn technique, but there's just too much of it, right? Her hair looks like a situation has occurred that's not a good one. Okay, and I'm going to lower the opacity, and then I'm going to start masking again. And so I'll add a mask. Boom, there's the mask. Coming back to black and white over here with black in front. My brush is still on 57, which is probably a good idea. And where I'm painting is on the shadow portion of the hair. I'm really trying to see if something is happening here and nothing is happening here. And the reason why is because I have color burn on and I have to turn it off for a second. My bad. So I'm going to go back to normal. Yeah. And again, select the mask side. Got it. And on the mask side, I should be painting with a normal black brush. And am I painting with black? No, I was painting with white, which is also part of the problem. So here I'm bringing back this shadowy stuff. Okay, this shadowy stuff I do not want affected by that color burn. And I'm bringing it down to here. So if I turn it off and turn it on, I mean, even that is somewhat helpful, but it just looks unnatural. It looks better. But to, yeah, I mean, her hair is actually picking up the light from the sky, so to speak. And if I wanted to get even fancier with this, I'd go back to the color image side, pick up this sort of darker color, B for brush, make the brush smaller, and put some of that over here. Surprisingly, when you sample these colors that you're pulling, you might be like, oh, that's purple, and you look over here and it's like, what color is that? I don't know what that color is called. Cocoa. That's like a cocoa color. So I'm painting that cocoa color on these highlights, and it looks dirty now, so that's not a good move. Back, and I, and select, and B, and drop. So now it's making it lighter. Also not good. So I'm just going to take it back to where it was, and I'm going to pretend that looks pretty darn close, actually. And now, with the mask layer in place and the color in place, I'm going to go back to, it was color burn, correct? Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yay! So the last little bit of this, and I'll stop in a second, really I will, is I'm going to go on top of the sky layer, okay? This is bringing back some of the content that we talked about a few weeks ago. I'm going to add a new layer. On this new layer, I'm going to do a little cheat here. I'm going to get white, increase the size of the brush, and I'm actually going to make sure that this is a low opacity. And the brush is too big. I'm going to blow some white here so that there's like this, you know, what the heck's happening in the sky kind of white. And that's just dropping on top of everything. Now, check this. I'm going to click on this layer mask. Option, click and drag it up, and that copies the layer mask and drops it right on top. That is freaking awesome, if I do say so myself. All right, that came out good. So Option, click, drag up, let go. And so by putting this extra highlight onto the sky, see what happens there? It unifies. Not unified, unified. And all that really is if you hide the other layers, it's this. See the white? And with the mask in place, it cuts and trims perfectly. And this is a simple version of something I will show you this fall if you take my class. So that is how to use an alpha channel to create a very difficult to create layer mask, and how to composite multiple pieces together. The last thing I should probably do, and thank you to the photographer who took this photo. I want to thank that person. See if we can find that photo because it is pretty awesome. This little portrait of this youngster. She's on here somewhere. Where did my kid go? She was on this page, wasn't she? I didn't lose my child, did I? Left my baby on the bus. Yeah, I was sure that she was here somewhere. Well, she's disappeared. Where?
Oh, but it's a different picture.
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't know where my kid went. Well, photographer who took this photo, if you ever see this tutorial, this is for educational purposes. I'm not selling this image, so don't be mad at me. Yeah, I don't know where that went. I don't know how that happened. In any case, it's a really good example of what is possible. So remember, I took that history snapshot. If I go back to history and scroll on up, before and after. Now that's portfolio worthy. All right, file, save, and I left their icon there, so I'm now done with that one.